money!
What's going on, my friends? Thought I would pop in and do a quick hit video here on my experience with the Endstate Matrix version 3.4 that just dropped about 24 hours ago. Those of you that were on stream watch me bitch slap that thing, and I wanted to kind of give you guys what my results were, and this is going to be my top 5 teams for Endstate Matrix version 3.4, which you can pretty much send that to the bank that if it's the top 5 in Endstate Matrix, it's basically going to be your top 5 overall teams, aka the meta. The only caveat to that is that we know Frolova is still the queen of Wiwa. So, when you're doing these top characters or teams lists, you kind of have to have Wiwa set aside to a degree. There are going to be characters like Luke Herson that are absolutely terrible and just borderline not usable at all in Whimpering Waste, and characters like Frolova that absolutely dominate Whimpering Waste time after time after time, patch after patch after patch. So, with that out of the way, let's get into it. Thank you all for joining me. Please do consider subscribing to the channel and liking the video. Really appreciate all of your support. Throw in your subs to my very small channel. All I ask is that you allow me to earn your viewership and earn your subscription. We do fun stuff like giveaways, things like that. And I'm starting to mix it up a little bit more. I'm doing some fantasy sports, and we're just gonna, roll the dice and see what we get, But thank you all for joining me. So let's get into it. Number 5 is going to be Dr. Luke Herson. And this team, I found to be pretty consistent, pretty steady. This is a team that I am able to easily get over 5,000 points with every end state matrix. And that's kind of whether there's a buff or not for them. And it's never going to blow your socks off and get you upwards of 10K. Although maybe the first end state matrix I did. But anyways, Luke Herson and company coming in comfortably with a pretty nice score here. And with this team, you of course can, this is the Toon Strain team, and Mornier is going to basically be a necessity, and you can go with Linnae as I did here, or you can opt for Denia's Toon Strain mode. But seeing as that Denia only has one vigor or stamina for the event, it is recommended that she is used in Fusion Burst unless you do not have Imyth or you're using Imyth on a Toon Rupture team. So those circumstances are both entirely possible, and so that could be the case. But at any rate, this is a team that is going to be steady, consistent, competitive. Like I said before, really, in the 2 modes of Endstate Matrix and TOA, you can always count on this team to basically bail you out of any of your toughest content, assuming that you do have 3 of those 4 resonators, or if you have Luke, and then you really do need Mornier. Shorekeeper, you're going to take a bit of a DPS loss, so if you didn't have Mornier, then one of the other teams like a Galbrena Echo team or a Cartithia team are probably going to creep into the top 5 and take Luke's spot if he does not have his absolute premium team. With that, let's move on to number 4. And our number 4 team is the Hyuki Glacio Chafe. Of course, now that Lucilla has come out, she's been buffed a little bit. I don't think it's really shaken up too much where she is in the standings. This team is just absurd. Hyuki being able to basically immobilize all enemies with that Glacio Chafe, and the nuke is just so deadly. It's lethal, and Lucilla adding a little bit more, well, a lot of bit more punch to that. And if you get any investment at all in her, look out. This team really, the sky is the limit for them. The only thing that really hindered me here was the Havoc res on that first boss. And that's why sometimes this type of stuff is hard for it to be apples to apples comparison. You'll get through one boss, and then you get a different kind of elemental resistance on another boss, and you can lose a little bit of momentum because of that. But at any rate, this team absolutely shreds. Lucilla has added a nice, quick sub DPS, adds a lot of nice damage. Rotation time is super quick, super smooth, super easy to learn. And not to mention, Hiyuki is very easy to play as well. So this is quite a sexy team. And now let's check out number 3. For number 3, we have Imeth Fusion Burst. And of course, with the release of Denia earlier in the patch, or last patch, that is, this team has really taken off, and it's almost caught up to Imeth's other team. And one could make the argument that it has caught up. And a lot of that just depends on investment, skill level, all of that stuff. Bosses, elemental resistance, tokens and buffs and all that kind of stuff. And I will explain the token situation here in a minute and why I am ranking this team just a little bit behind them. So yeah, and again, we have the Havoc res here, so it does make it tough to compare apples to apples. But there's no question that you've got, it's interesting. We had the DPS come out first. Fusion Burst becomes a thing. Chisa already is able to increase the max stacks. And now we do have Denia. And now we've been leaked some future characters that are going to be coming out in potentially 3.5 that are going to make Fusion Burst even better. So you're going to have tons of options. But for right now, I mean, look at the way this team shreds. You basically have 2 sub DPS and a DPS, and that's the benefit of Chisa, is that she is way more than just a sustain. She is doubling the max stacks of Fusion Burst, on top of doing quite a bit of sub DPS damage herself. Denia, kind of similar to Lucilla, very smooth, very smooth, and her rotation's only about 6 seconds long, and then boom, you're over there to Imeth. And if you use Denia's Echo, you're actually buffing the Fusion Burst damage even more when you perform that outro skill into Imeth. So yes, this team absolutely destroys, and I've had great success with them in both the previous Endstate Matrix and this one. So kudos to Imeth for just coming in at or near the top once again. She is absolutely the queen. So anyways, let's get to number 2. Number 2, there is our girl again, Miss Imeth, coming in with her OG team, the Toon Rupture team. And ladies and gentlemen, this team is still, in my opinion, 1 or 1A. I have her at number 2 right now, and really that's only because she didn't have a buff. But I can tell you that the score on the scorecard, she finished basically right behind the Fusion Burst team. And so this is with only using the general enhancement token. So yeah, this team is absolutely nasty. It can shred anything and everything. Wiwa, TOA, Endstate Matrix. It's just an unstoppable force to be reckoned with. And so one of the things that's nice to keep in mind is if you can just assemble this team right here, you don't have to fuss and stress about the future characters and buffs and missing out on this best in slot or that best in slot, because really at the end of the day, this team is so good that it's almost like they're future proof. Like they're going to be good for at least a year or more, Now, eventually, other characters will come along, and there's a soft power creep in Wua, but this team is just so OG. Imeth is probably the easiest DPS to play in the game. Look at how many breaks you get where you can just relax your fingers, whatever. All the burst animations. I mean, it's a really fun team to play. One of the smoothest and easiest teams to play. I'm a skill issue player, and I've found this team to be incredibly easy. So, props to iMyth for getting 2 teams in my top 3, and for not to mention top 5, but 2 teams in the top 3. Really impressive. All right. Without further ado, let's get to number 1. And numero uno is our Sigrika Chiwon Shorekeeper Echo team. And Sigrika is just an absolute hoss. She has a couple nukes in her rotation that just decimate enemies in Endstate Matrix. And this team's basically unstoppable. It's unbelievable how um they did get a token, so they got a buff, and that could be why she came out ahead of iMyth. And so you could really any of those top 4 teams, I would say, are kind of interchangeable based on your skill level and level of investment, and which of those teams you even have. But really, at the end of the day, you're going to be sitting pretty if you have any of those 4. And if you have 2 of them, then you're pretty much golden in, maybe Wiwa, and you can at least get some or most, if not all, of the rewards in TOA and Endstate Matrix, or at least the Astri rewards. But anyways, this is a great team to shoot for new players and veteran players alike. Again, a very easy team to use. Um, Basically, Siggy is the only one on field for most of the time, and she just does so much freaking damage, dude. It's unbelievable. They really broke the mold and broke the game with Sigrika. And so look at that score. It's unbelievable. So there you have it. This is your top 5 end state matrix teams for Wuthering Waves version 3.4. You guys can let me know your thoughts in the comments, and let me know how you guys did in the matrix, what your top teams were, where you agree, disagree. And, there are obviously a couple teams that I left out that I could have thrown in there if we would have stretched it to a top, 8 or 10. And some honorable mentions. Lucy and Rebecca performed pretty admirably. Frolova obviously always performs well. I ran a Galbrana team with Lupa and Brandt that did really well as well. They could have been in there at number 6 or 7, maybe. Could have even made a case for them to leapfrog Luke Herson. But obviously, the overarching theme here is that there is some power creep going on, because all of these units on this list are basically your most recent DPSs. Go down the line. There is not like all these other characters, Cartithia, Galbrena, Frolova, they still get Augusta, they still get the job done just fine. But if we're really ranking the best characters in the game, and in my opinion, to do that using the most difficult end game mode in the game is a great way to, I think, to measure it as accurately as you can in any end game mode, right? But anyways, yeah. So there is some power creep, I think, is the whole point of the video, really. So anyways, thank you guys for joining me. Please remember to like and subscribe. Come join me on stream. I stream every night. Well, 6 nights a week, maybe. Starting around midnight, West Coast time. And hopefully I'll catch you on there. Thank you guys. Have a good night. Adios.